7 over 7, and it is now time for the Pembrokeshire Sport Update with our very own Bill Carne. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, lovely morning again, Tom, isn't it? Do you know, the birds were waking me up this morning at 5:30, so up I got. So excited at coming to talk to you.
Well, Bill, it's a pleasure. My phone battery actually died this morning, so I was that excited to see you that I woke up automatically. So
Oh,
thank
fine.
goodness, otherwise this would be awkward.
Yeah.
Bill, it's been relatively nice weather during the week, enough for some cricket matches to take place, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, every week now they're reaching the sort of climax of the season in terms of cup. This week it was the Alec Colley Cup quarterfinals. That's for all the second teams. It was initiated in memory of Alec Colley, who was a great guy at Pembroke, a lovely administrator. I think he played a lot of cricket in his younger days, but he was a great guy, and everybody thought the world of Alec. So, the seconds, it means a lot. Traditionally played at Trelit, the home of Pembroke Cricket Club, and this week the four quarterfinals. Real contrast, Tom, when you think Whitland beat Loreni 171 for 7 and 142 for 6. And the staff of Whitland, he loved me saying it because he likes a bit of publicity. Well done, Nathan Evans, 46 and 3 for 40. Larger than life character is Evans, lovely boy. Big match I watched down at Imble Lane in Pembroke Dock. It's a terrific wicket there. Pembroke Dock 163 for 3, which is a great score because they chased down Nayland's 162 for 5. Now, that's a big score, Tom. So it's 320 and 40 overs there. Anton John was the star for Pembroke Dock. He had 1 for 15 when he was bowling, but then smashed 70. And that was the decisive factor. There were two 50s for Nayland with Phil Sutton and my pal Steve Murray. So that was a good game. And then Tish got 138 for 8 at Carew. And Carew got it for 2 wickets. And the architect of that was Nicky Scurfield. Nicky won't mind me saying he's a veteran. He's been around a long, long time, 30 plus years playing for Carew. 55 not out. Well done, Skirks. And skipper Gareth Lewis had 53. And then you go from those high scores. Haverfordwest played last night at home to Pembroke. And my pal Natalie Thomas, who's the scorer there, was phoning me when my wife was driving down the M4, I'd better say, because that's true. And at about 6:45, and the game was over. Pembroke 27 all out. Haverfordwest 30 for naught. Yeah. Aye.
No.
And in the last round, Haverfordwest scored, Pembroke scored 190. So Simon Williams 5 for 6 and Dean Flood 3 for 4. And I can tell you the semi-final draw is Haverfordwest against Pembroke Dock at Langham and Carew against Whitland at Pembroke Dock. That's later on in July. So that's the games that have been played this week.
Wow, I was just about to mention as well, isn't it incredible this season? There's been lots of high-scoring matches, and then you throw Haverfordwest and Pembroke Dock at me. Like, what happened there? Did they just want an early night?
I think a bad day. I don't think Pembroke were at full strength. In the last round, they had a couple of boys there. Will Davis travels down from Cardiff to play. Well, obviously, Will wasn't available last night, and he's the backbone of their run machine. So, yeah, it happens. That's cricket. That's what makes cricket, isn't it? You know.
This is true. Now that I know so much, I know I say this every week, but now I know so much more about it. I wish that I had been a little bit more involved, but never mind. In fact, haven't you caught up with some people in the cricketing world that we're going to hear from?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. One of the nicest characters in Pembrokeshire is Richard Howell. Now, he's the sole organiser of the Ken Morris Cup. He took that on behalf of Ken's 3 boys. They supply magnificent trophies and all the help they can. But Richard took that on. He was big pals with Ken, who was an umpire, known as Ken the Pop, because he was a pop salesman at one time. Lovely man was Ken. And he's organising that again, so we're going to be talking to him. And that competition is for third teams and 1 or 2 that are brought in, like the Lanska Nomads, which is a group of made up of boys who just want to play cricket. And I'm talking to him. Fraser's going to be talking to people on the weekend about some of the results that are going on there. So I'm looking forward to those. And I'm also going to be talking, Tom, changing the subject. I popped into the Bridge Meadow this week. I'll tell you a bit about that after. But down at the bottom pitch, there's a pile of kids playing. Down I go. 4 vans from Swansea City there. And Swansea City Academy had brought in the chance for youngsters to play, junior school kids to play some fun football in a not a results-based, but just a fun-based day. And who were there but Kerry Phillips and Harry Thomas. Kerry is responsible for that age group in Pembrokeshire, Harry in Carmarthenshire. You'll have heard his name with the cricket. He's a very good cricketer as well. So I was talking to them, and some nice touches. Harry was delighted when he told me he was now back at Harvard West with Chris Lloyd, who's an old friend of mine. Chris has been around a long time. And I said, I think you two will be like Brian Clough and Peter Taylor. And even though he's a youngster, he said, I'll take that as the biggest compliment you can give him. So some nice touches in the interviews this week.
It's fantastic, and it's great to keep those links with Swansea City and that kind of development arc, so that the young players can see that there is progression through the ranks, even as far west as Pembrokeshire. And of course, Halford West played their first pre-season friendly against some championship side players that were fit and ready to go as well.
And what I love to see, Tom, perhaps the best thing for me in the short time I was there, the number of girls that were playing alongside boys, in a way, perhaps 50-50. And that's what you've got to have. You've got to have girls playing football. I mean, all sports.
Definitely. And you found yourself at the Oggy Bridge Meadow Stadium, and you're saying that there's changes afoot there.
Well, Tom, listen, you know I'm a bit of a lad for my cup of coffee. And if Marilyn is shopping in Morrison's, I just pop across and have a talk to Alan Thomas and Kevin Haldane, Kevin Craig about the ground. The changes, not in the football, they've been documented through the excellent show on Monday, but the hive of activity there. The pitch is looking good. Jonathan Boot from Manabir had seeded that, and the grass is growing like the clappers. But there's new dugouts almost completed. The only slight problem where you stand to do your excellent pre-match stuff, you might have your vision limited a bit. You're going to have to move slightly because they're higher up, because people can stand up in them as well. As well as that, the home changing room's been completely revamped. That was Nicky Hayne. There's brand new LED floodlights. They are absolutely superb. I had the sight to Mickey Ellis, who's retired now from his job, 60-odd, one of the best headers of a ball I ever saw in Pembrokeshire, helping to shin up those, help the guys who are fitting those from Bridgend. So I'm going to talk to Mickey soon about that. There's a new boiler being fitted for the showers, and new carpets. You'll be pleased with this because you like a pint. New carpets fitted, and the bar area totally revamped. There's people in and out all the time with building and repairs and doing things. It was lovely to see Phil Chapman was there clearing out all the footpaths, cleaning all the weeds off those. Fantastic.
Fantastic. And in fact, you can have it all reached its climax last night, this Fly on the Wall documentary. It's on YouTube. I need to catch up with yesterday's because I was out and about. But episode 3 or 4, one of the two I caught up with the other day, talks about not just stuff that happens within the club that you're explaining, but also the community development links they've made as well.
Yes.
And you can even see my left hand when I held a choir workshop in the Oggy Bridge Meadow stand. Bill, before we look at...
We've all featured. I know Ryan has done a good job. He interviewed myself, Gordon, Fraser. So we've all had a little chance to have our two penneth. It's been good. I've
really enjoyed it. And it's great to see a radio show featured so prominently. I'm able to watch it on my TV. So to see all of our faces from the radio show up on the screen is actually quite cool. And now, before we look at what people can look forward to this weekend, very quickly, Bill, I've got a question for you because I got sent it the other day. Have you heard of Octopush?
Underwater hockey. That's the best way you could describe it.
Underwater hockey.
Yeah, and people have to be very fit. There's not many teams in Wales. Tim Dyson was a real driver of that in Pembroke Leisure Centre many years ago. And I was good friends with Tim. I was even better friends with his dad, who was one of my great pals in school, Mike. And Tim took me along. I've done a couple of interviews on him and 2 or 3 youngsters who represented Wales and the UK. It's not a spectator sport because it's underwater. But I stood on the edge of the pool and watched them. They've got to be super fit. They have to have their feet off the floor. So you imagine when you're in the shallow end, it's not easy. And they have a window cleaning utensil. Do you know the sort of thing I mean? And they have to push the puck along with that. It's very physical, I tell you. They pump into each other, they push each other. It's a bit like ice hockey underwater in some ways as well with the stick. But it's a game where there's some youngsters coming through now, and it's great to see. So, Pembroke have done well in having so many representatives. Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. You mentioned Wales there. Well, it got forwarded to me because they had, I know you said there's not many teams, but they had 11 representatives playing for Great Britain a couple of weeks ago. So well done to them. And what can we look forward to this coming weekend?
Well, on the international front, of course, there's the rugby tomorrow. I mean, Wales are playing against South Africa. When I was on the Monday show, I used to be on about Welsh scrum halves keep box kicking a ball away. Same thing again. Last minute, we're ahead. What does he do? He kicks the ball, loses possession. They come back, kick the penalty. We're finished toast. Now, there's a big fuss this week because some of the Welsh people, like the legendary, wonderful Sir Gareth Edwards, who I was honoured to interview once, saying that South Africa are just disrespecting Wales by changing 14 of their first team to appear there, only one from last week. They'll still have a side that'll push us all the way. They're big and strong, in your face. They're not my favourite rugby nation, I got to be honest. I like the New Zealand style of rugby, so I'll be up early tomorrow to watch them play Ireland. Last week's was a classic. Ireland were a bit unlucky, so they'll be out for revenge. And I think there's another one somewhere in there.
There'll be an England one somewhere, I think.
Oh, yes, I knew there was another team. Yeah, Australia are playing England. Australia won first. I mean, listen, I'm not against England. I'm not fussed on their coach. I'm not fussed on their coach. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. On the home front, there's huge interest in the cricket tomorrow in Pembrokeshire. Tom, I've been involved in Pembrokeshire cricket for 55 years. I have never known a season like it. We've talked about how close things are. Look at it now. Top four, Neyland 135 points. Criselli 134 after they've had 2 points deducted. Otherwise, they would have been top. Narberth 133 and Carew 132. Four teams within a point of each other. And at the bottom end, Haverfordwest 98, Saundersfoot 97, Loreni 96, and Lorraine at Pembrokeshire trailing with 93, 3 points. And sandwiched between those are Langham and St Ishmael's, who with a couple of wins could go up, or a couple of defeats could be at the bottom. And that's how it is. And the second division is almost as tight. 11 points between the top five and 10 points between the bottom four. It's incredible. So the games this weekend are hugely, hugely vital. I know we say that every week, don't we? I mean, if you want the top games, got to be Carew fourth against Criselli second. They hate each other in cricket. They all play together for Carew in football. It's a laugh. Neyland are still top, hanging on there. They're at home to Saundersfoot. Narberth are the surprise team. I say a huge well done to Ben Hughes and his boys because they've got a lot of youngsters in the side as well as some old stagers. And they're in second. And they're at home to Loreni, who last year nearly won, were very close to winning everything. And they're now bottom but one. It's a crazy season, I can tell you. Pembroke home to Langham and Haverfordwest are playing St Ishmael's on the racecourse. So there's plenty. Can I make a plea very quickly, Tom?
Very quickly.
There were 7 umpires on the Pembrokeshire circuit, as we call it, which meant there were 2 games with 2 umpires and 3 with 1. That's not good for the 1 umpire. It's not fair. It's demanding. But there used to be both divisions. Please, if there's anyone out there who wants to do a service to a game they love, become an umpire. It's the next best thing to play in, Tom. It really is.
Yeah, and of course you talked with Arthur Brady, who's recently stopped umpiring as well, talking about how much he's enjoyed it. Even later in life he got into it. And again, that plea for new umpires. So if you want the game to continue in a fair way in this county, you need umpires. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Bill, thank you so much. All the fixtures, all the results, all the match reports are on pembrokeshiresport.co.uk for all that analysis of what's going on. And it's very exciting. The season's definitely coming to an end because a lot of the football clubs are trying to arrange some pre-season friendlies as well. So that transition is already happening. Bill, before you go, it's Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving. You've picked the track. What are we having today?
Oh, this week I was listening in the car this week to some music, and one that came up on my playlist was Dobie Gray, called Drift Away, and it's a fantastic song. So I thought I'll share that with the listeners, and when I bump into people, they can let me know if they think it's good or a bit of old fogey rubbish.
Well, I've had a sneak peek. I love it. Bill, thank you so much for your time here this morning. I'm going to turn up Dobie Gray after a little bit of traffic and travel. Take care, Bill.
Ta-ra, everybody. Bye-bye, Tom.
How are you, Bob? Good.